Biography of Charlie Chaplin. Chapter 1. Early Life. Charlie Chaplin was born on April 16, 1889 in London, England. His full name was Charles Spencer Chaplin. His parents were both performers, but they were very poor. His father, Charles Chaplin Sr., was an alcoholic and died when Charlie was very young. His mother, Hannah Chaplin, struggled with mental illness and could not take care of him. Because of this, Charlie and his brother Sidney had a very hard childhood. They lived in orphanages and often did not have enough food to eat. Despite the difficulties, Charlie loved watching performers on the streets of London. He dreamed of becoming a comedian and making people laugh. When he was 5 years old, he performed for the first time on stage. His mother had lost her voice during a show, so Charlie sang in her place. The audience loved him, and this moment inspired him to become a performer. Even though his life was full of struggles, Charlie never gave up on his dream. Chapter 2. First Steps in Acting. When Charlie was 9 years old, he joined a children's theater group. He learned to sing, dance, and act. His talent was clear, and soon he started getting small roles in stage plays. He worked very hard and became better at making people laugh. At the age of 14, he got his first serious acting job in a play called Sherlock Holmes. He played a small role, but his performance was excellent. This job helped him get more acting opportunities. He continued performing in vaudeville shows, which were popular entertainment shows at the time. By the age of 16, Charlie was traveling around England as a comedian. His brother Sidney helped him get a job with Fred Karno's comedy group. This was a big step for Charlie because it allowed him to improve his comedy skills. His performances were so good that in 1910, he got a chance to go to America for the first time. Chapter 3. Journey to Hollywood. In 1913, while performing in America, Charlie was noticed by a filmmaker named Mack Sennett. Sennett invited him to work in Hollywood. Charlie saw this as a great opportunity, so he signed a contract and started making movies. At first, it was difficult for him. He was not used to acting in front of a camera, and the directors did not understand his style of comedy. But Charlie quickly learned and developed a unique character, the Tramp. This character wore a bowler hat, big shoes, a small mustache, and carried a cane. He was poor but always kind and funny. The audience loved the Tramp, and soon Charlie Chaplin became a big star. His short films like Kid Auto Races at Venice and The Tramp made people laugh all over America. He became one of the most famous comedians in the world. Chapter 4. Becoming a Star. By 1915, Chaplin was one of the most famous actors in the world. People loved his films because they were funny, but also had emotions. His character, the Tramp, was poor but always kind and hopeful. He started making longer movies and directing them himself. Some of his best films from this time were The Kid, 1921, where he played a father figure to a little boy, and The Gold Rush, 1925, which showed his struggles as a poor man searching for gold. His ability to mix comedy with sadness made his films very special. Chaplin became so popular that studios gave him complete control over his films. He created his own studio in 1919 called United Artists, with other famous actors. This allowed him to make the films he wanted without interference from big studios. Chapter 5. Silent-to-sound films. In 1927, movies started using sound, but Chaplin was not ready to give up silent films. He believed that comedy was better without words. While other filmmakers moved to sound, Chaplin continued making silent movies, adding only music and sound effects. In 1931, he released City Lights, a silent film that was loved by audiences. Even though sound films were popular, people still enjoyed Chaplin's unique style. In 1936, he made Modern Times, a film that showed the struggles of workers in a world controlled by machines. This film had some spoken words, but Chaplin still used mostly silent comedy. Finally, in 1940, Chaplin made his first full-sound film, The Great Dictator. In this movie, he played a character similar to Adolf Hitler and made fun of the dictator. The film was a great success, and it showed that Chaplin could also succeed in sound films. Chapter 6: Challenges in Hollywood. Even though Chaplin was loved by audiences, some people in America did not like his political views. He believed in peace and spoke against war. Some people accused him of being a communist, and the government started watching him closely. In addition to political problems, Chaplin also faced personal scandals. His relationships with young women and legal battles affected his image. His marriage to Una O'Neill in 1943 was criticized because of their big age difference, but Una stayed with him for the rest of his life and gave him a stable family. His problems with the American government increased in the late 1940s. In 1952, while he was traveling to Europe, the United States refused to let him return. Feeling betrayed, Chaplin decided to live in Switzerland instead of fighting to come back. Chapter 7: Life in Exile. Chaplin was deeply hurt by his exile, but continued making films. In 1957, he made A King in New York, which criticized American politics. However, without support from Hollywood, the film was not very successful. Even though he was far from Hollywood, Chaplin lived a comfortable life in Switzerland with his wife and children. He spent time writing music, books, and enjoying his family life. People around the world still loved him, and he received many honors. In 1972, after 20 years of exile, the United States invited Chaplin back to receive an honorary Academy Award. When he appeared at the Oscar ceremony, the audience gave him a 12-minute standing ovation, the longest in history. Chapter 8: Final Years. Chaplin's health began to decline in the 1970s. He suffered from strokes and memory loss, but he continued to enjoy his life with his family. He published his autobiography in 1964, which became a bestseller. In 1975, Queen Elizabeth II awarded him knighthood, giving him the title Sir Charlie Chaplin. This was one of the greatest honors of his life. He was now recognized not only as a comedian but as a cultural icon. Even though he was weak, Chaplin remained happy. He spent his last years surrounded by his wife and children, enjoying the quiet countryside of Switzerland. Chapter 9: Death and Legacy. On December 25, 1977, Chaplin passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 88. His death was mourned all over the world. People remembered him as the man who brought laughter and hope to millions. In a strange event in 1978, thieves stole Chaplin's body from his grave, hoping to get ransom money. However, the police caught them, and his body was later reburied in a safer location. Chaplin's films continue to inspire actors, comedians, and filmmakers. His ability to mix comedy with deep emotions makes his movies timeless. Chapter 10: Influence on the World. Chaplin's impact on cinema is unmatched. He was one of the first filmmakers to prove that movies could be both funny and emotional. His work influenced great directors like Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese. Even today, new generations watch his films and admire his genius. His silent films are still loved worldwide, proving that true art has no language barrier. Charlie Chaplin's life was a story of struggle, success, exile, and ultimate recognition. From a poor boy in London to a global icon, his journey continues to inspire millions.